Let's talk about care and feeding of your Audeze headphones. I got a few pairs here. Got a Maxwell and some LCDs and MMs around me. Basically what you want to do to clean them is just get a nice soft cloth, wipe them down, kind of clean off dust, accumulated oils and sweat and stuff. Just go around, clean out the ear cups, wipe off the headband, get off any dust, and that should take care of it. Most of the time, that's all you need to do. If you have something that kind of sticks on there, you want to wipe it off with a little water, that's fine, or glasses lens cleaner, screen cleaner usually is fine. The key is mild. Don't use dish soap or anything harsh that will potentially damage the finish. And you always want to use a soft cloth and then dry it afterwards. Headband adjustment, it's very simple. You pull off one set of holes, pick a new set of holes, and you just press it right on. It takes some effort at first. The holes kind of stretch out a little bit as you use them, just like any material like that. But after a little practice, you get it on pretty quickly. And this is really kind of a set it and forget it headband. Point being that there's fewer moving parts, fewer things to break or have to maintain. So you set it how it fits you, and then you most likely never have to touch it again. When it comes to periodic maintenance, things beyond cleaning, things that might need adjustment from time to time, on the LCD series, we have this screw right here that with wiggling of this back and forth sometimes can work its way loose. We do put Loctite on these screws, or actually now it's a Nylock patch. So they are held in with a very mild adhesive when they leave the factory, but over time that adhesive bond can loosen up and potentially break just with use. So keep a Phillips screwdriver on hand, and if you find that this starts coming loose and it starts sagging right here, then you can put that screwdriver in, just tighten that up a little bit. If it happens a lot, you can back the screw out about halfway, put a little tiny drop of a mild Loctite like the blue or the green, or a little bit of super glue like from a toothpick, just a tiny drop on there, and then screw the screw back in, tighten it up nice and tight, and let it sit overnight. That will help keep it from loosening again, but without the drawback of you could never get it out. The other thing that sometimes might need adjustment is these screws here, which is a 2mm Allen wrench. The adjustment block will come a little bit loose, might start sagging. Same scenario where just over time it might happen. So you can tighten that up just snug. You want it just snug. And on the MM500 and LCD5s as well, since they have a similar headband, it's the same thing. There's a little screw there, 2mm. Tighten it up till it's just snug and you feel like the movement is easy to do, but not loosening by itself. So these are just perfect right now. And the other thing that can sometimes happen is these little knurled screws can come loose. If they fall off, it's no big deal. And they have the same purpose as the nylon screws on the LCD series, which they're all just finger tight, so you can just remove them with your hands and tighten them back down with your hands. You don't need a tool. Their only purpose is to keep the yoke rod from pulling all the way out of the adjustment block. So it's not a critical part in either case, but it's nice to have on there, of course. If they get lost, we can send replacements. You can email our support team and we can get you some. So with cables, just to make sure they don't get all knotted up, what I usually do to roll them up is I take them like this, and then you can feel how they kind of want to go as you roll up. Sometimes they want to go under, sometimes they want to go over. And then once you get up here and you have a nice little coil, you can put a little twist tie around it or a cable tie or whatever, or you can thread one loop through the whole thing, and that will kind of keep it together. And then that way when you travel, you can take it with you and then just untie it, and then it comes all undone pretty easily. The other alternative is what we call the devil horn, where you want to put the connector in your hand, fold your inside fingers over it, and then do a figure 8 around your remaining fingers. You end up with a little bit more bulk in thickness, but you have a nice tidy package that you can put a cable tie around. And once you untie it, when you want to use it again, it just all comes out perfect and you don't end up with any weird kinks or loops in it. When you connect the cables into an MM or an LCD series, the right side always has this little red. So red is right, that's good to remember. It's also on here. So that's right, this is right. You just want to press it in like that, and then when you remove it, press the button and then give it a little wiggle, and it'll usually come out. Sometimes they get a little stuck. So if you're pressing the button and you're wiggling and it's just not coming out, sometimes happens, not a big deal. With these kind of connectors, just twist the back of the connector off. So now you've taken the sleeve off, and then you have the guts inside, and pull gently on the metal part here, and it will slide out. Sometimes there's a little extra resistance like there. Sometimes it's pretty easy to pull out. So once you've done that, then there's nothing holding this in anymore other than the button. So you can push the button and pull it right out. And then to put the cable back together, you have the button on top, and then on this black sleeve part, the holes in it, you have a flat part. So the flat part lines up with the button. So all you have to do is push it in like this. You can twist it a little bit to make sure it lines up, and then you'll see the face becomes flush with the front of the connector. And then all you have to do is you put this back on and screw it on tight again, and now it's back together 100% operational without having to stress about pulling it out or breaking anything. So again, now it fits great. Little wiggle, comes right out. Don't do this stuff. Don't take the cable and wrap it around your hand or whatever like this in a continuous loop, because you do two things when you do that. You stretch it, which eventually will loosen things and make you have bad connections. And you also wind it up into basically a knot where you're pulling it all in one direction, and then you end up with this kind of messy scenario at the end. You want to do like a figure 8 or a over under when you roll up, and then you'll end up with a nice even cable that won't break down over time. You don't want to kink these at all. You don't want to tie it super tight around or do anything that will stress the cable inside, because inside here there's just little wires, right? And those little wires over time can become stressed, and if they bend here, they'll end up breaking, and then you've got a bad cable. The other thing you don't want to do is smash the ear pads together or put them on your head and go like this, because that can stretch the diaphragm film and actually break them. Over time, they'll stretch. You can do a little bit mild adjustment, a little pressing here. They have gaskets and that kind of thing that help evacuate the air, but it's the fast, sudden motion that you want to avoid. Don't stretch it, because what you're doing is you're stretching the headband here, and you're also stressing the joints here, which can eventually come loose. It's all common sense stuff, but if you're not exposed to it, then you may never know.